Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you today. I'm going to be talking about the secret ingredient of becoming an innovative leader. So today it will be all about the mindset that you have to bring in to have that future role of leadership and enjoy it. So I'll be talking at first about my background, my business, and then I will jump in really into creating a safe place for innovation. And at the end, I will end talking about how can we be a more conscious leader. So if you have any question during this presentation, please type it down and the team of Campus Party gonna take care of it. The questions might be in Français, in English, or in Spanish. Go ahead, I will try to answer my best at the end in the language you're asking your question. So who am I? Well, I'm Elizabeth Stefanka. I'm the founder and CEO of Stefanka Technologies. But before that, I've always been a very creative person, and I had pretty much, I would say, a background of an entrepreneur. I'll give you a few examples. I started very young. At 10 years old, I was already calling the director of my school to organize classes during the lunchtime, and I had to organize all my stuff. I was dealing with the library to get to print out my stuff on acetate, which was the PowerPoint of those years. And I would see it at that time more as I'm a person who sees issues, who sees problem, and who wants them to be solved. And I assumed that if no one would take the lead in it, I would have to do it. So that was my perception of entrepreneurship and taking leads in different stuff. So at 12 years old, I was also having a little organization with my friends where we were doing babysitting, dispatching. So I would dispatch the girls so they could go babysit. And this was when I was like 12 to 14 years old. And then afterwards, I've studied in fashion design. And actually, I'm a dropout, which is not necessarily the best. But I've pursued my studies afterward with undergrad in consumer science. And afterward, I've done a master's degree in international business. During those studies, I was already also quite busy having projects and so on. I will give you an interesting example of being a leader with an innovative approach. While I was at my undergrad, my last year, I was doing an exchange in France, and I had to do an intern in the marketing agency. And while I was working over there, I've noticed that, well, my tasks were pretty much redundant, and I wasn't that much enjoying my daily work over there. And I've noticed that my boss had a huge network into the winery and spirit industry. So I went to see him. I told him, hey, I have a project for you, and that could be quite interesting. I suggest him to create the very first mobile seller app, which was actually created by me, which I'm a Canadian, a French Canadian living in France for just that year. So I created the very first mobile app of wine seller in France. And the way I've approached this, I already had everything planned. Out of my business work, I've created a little budget. I've researched some ideas and things, and I brought them together. I went to see him. I told him, look, I have this amazing project. You have the network. Believe me, I know where we can reach out to get some funding and so on. Actually, I've managed to find some funding for a few thousands more per month, salary base, going through funding with the government for innovation in that area where I was in France. So that's an example of how you can be an innovative leader within your actual situation. So it's really to have that kind of solution-oriented mindset where you see things, you see a potential increasing, and you just apply for it. And then I'll jump in more about my business. Stefanka, we develop solutions for the retail, fashion, and the uniform industry. So we have 3 different types of product. The very first product is the interactive fitting room, where we've developed a software which analyzes automatically the volumes on the body shapes of people, then to recommend the best fit. Our second category of product are the Fit platform. So within Fit platform, we have Fit Connect, we have Fit Admin, we have also the Fit plugin, which are different solutions for e-commerce in order to recommend the best fit based on body shape, body measurements, and so on. And then the last product category of product that we have, it's Metaforma. Metaforma is quite interesting. It's a very innovative approach where we've developed algorithms to recommend a product on a web-based platform where we see an avatar having some physical collision with the clothing, so we can see how the clothes go on the body shape on a web-based platform. All these products have brought us all over the world. We're very lucky at Stefanka. We have been identified for the award, Interactive Innovation Award by South by Southwest in 2018. We were at the EPIC contest at the Science Park and Technology of Hong Kong. We've been all over the world, in Toronto for the DX3 in 2016. And I'm not telling you that to impress you, but I'm telling you that to express you that you can do that if you put your head on it and you really focus and you put all your energy into your idea and you just manage to bring your dreams to reality. Since then, I founded that business in 2014. And since then, we've been having lots of different clients. It goes from the small local designer up to the Fortune 500 big corporation from the States. And all this have been always into a mindset of innovating, disrupting the fashion industry and bringing something new to the world. One thing also within that experience that I want to share with you, it's an aspect which is quite interesting, but we have to talk about. Well, it's a fun fact, by the way. I was at a conference such as you are right now, but right now, obviously, it's a live one based on the COVID situation. So I was at the conference of an astronaut, which is Julie Payette. She's she's actually the first Canadian astronaut to go in space. And while I was receiving an email to say that my patent was approved for the volumetric recognition of body shape, she just mentioned to the audience, she said, "Vise la lune, si tu ne l'atteins pas, tu vas atterrir dans les étoiles," which is French. And this means in English, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss it, you'll land among the stars. And this touched me so much because just at that specific moment, I was receiving that email confirming that everything was accepted for my patent. And what you have to know is that in the months prior to this and the years prior to this, while this was just an idea within my head, and I was saying we have to bring in some 3D scanning, we have to bring some 3D information to analyze the volumetric of the breast in order to recommend the best fit within bra industry. It's so many people told me it was impossible, that I couldn't reach out this and it couldn't be automatized. Basically, the idea was, yes, 3D scanning exists, but usually you have to do it manually. You have to get all the information manually. And I was like, I want to bring this into the retail world. I want this to be accessible for everyone. And I was being told it was a little bit crazy. It could not happen. But you know what? I did it. So you have to really trust and believe in your dreams. That's really what I want to bring in, which is important right here. It's focus on your dreams. And I'm so sorry to tell you that, but usually there's as much haters, as much as people who gonna love what you're doing. So focus on the right people, focus on the positive thoughts that you can have. And this is gonna help you to reach out your dreams and enjoy the journey. And really, just if you're one of those people who have so bright ideas and who's privileged to have those visions, well, go for it and do it. So now I will be talking to you about the safe place. When I'm talking about creating a safe space, most of the people will be like, hey, why are we talking about safe? And what does that mean? Well, innovation, it's all about the culture. Innovation is really, it's not necessarily, yes, it can be within the rocket science business, but it's not necessarily invention. Innovation is really one thing apart. The definition that we can find in the dictionary, it refers to something or a change to an existing product, idea, or field. So it's really just a question of implementing something new to make it slightly better. Yes, the project that I've been talking to you, there was 2 of them which are rocket science. But still, innovation, it's all about the mindset. So if I'm talking about safe, why am I talking about safe? Well, the thing is that as a human being, most of the time we're gonna feel judged. When we get ideas, people gonna feel that they are judged and so on. So how can we create that innovation within the culture? Well, it's really to create a space, a moment where people are gonna feel that they can bring in any type of ideas and they won't be judged. And something also that I will maybe invite you to take a pen, write it down. Whatever people think and judge about you, don't define who you are. I'll repeat that so you can note it somewhere. What people think or would judge about you, don't define who you are. This is so important. And when we're talking about creating a safe space for innovation, it's really to make that space, that area where people can bring in those ideas. And actually, to welcome those advancements, well, as a leader, it's really part of your endeavor to make and create that informal and formal spaces. As I mentioned, more for the informal part, it's going to be creating that culture of innovation. And I can give you an example, quite easy, which is super fun and easy to integrate within groups and teams. I love to create manifestos for the corporation and the business that I've initiated. And a manifesto, it's a little bit like a values, but it's more a way to deal in the daily office and way to act. And one of those things that I've created, it's creating in my manifesto an element which is being a solution-oriented person. So it's pretty much what I was telling you earlier. If you're a solution-oriented person, then you're gonna always bring new solutions and new ways to tackle issues or challenges and so on. The other approach is more the formal way. So creating formal occasions for innovation and creating a formal safe space to discuss, it's creating meetings. For my part, I love the stand-up meetings. So during the stand-up meetings, at least it's gonna be quick and fast, and you can go around the table so everyone can share their thoughts, they can propose, make suggestions, or also ask for help to tackle an issue or problem, so all the team can innovate together. And another formal way to approach it is the brainstorming. And one thing which is super important during the brainstorming, there mustn't be no judgment. There should not be any no's within the brainstorming session. So I've told you also that I'm going to be talking about the third point, which is being a conscious leader. On this one, I'll ask you to join me on this. So yeah, I will need, it won't be too hard, it won't be too long either. So please close your eyes. You don't have to feel that you'll be judged. No one is looking at you. You're in front of your computer or your phone. Close your eyes. Put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then think about 3 things for which you have gratitude. So those 3 things, I would like one to be during this day. So I'll give you an example. Today, I have gratitude of being here with you, Campuseros, an initiative which is quite interesting, which has so many people behind it to make it work. And I'm feeling really grateful to be part of it. Think about 2 other things. It can be related to your family, your friends, your coworkers, yourself. And now release your breath. Put down your hands, open your eyes. Okay, why did I just did that? Well, this is some type of neuroplasticity. So it brings your mindset to calm down the serotonin within your brain, and make sure that you're grounded and you're ready to tackle any challenges, because when you're a leader, we know there's always challenge or always fires to take care of. So this is the, I would say, number one thing that you have to do while you're leader in innovation, because you have so much things to deal with. You have to make sure that you keep yourself aware and you're bringing some mindfulness within your daily operations so you can tackle everything. And one fun fact is that there was studies conducted, and the happiest people are the people who can understand and who make a conscious habit daily of finding grateful stuff within their days. So this, you should, if you're willing for trying it out, you should try to do it every single day, and you'll see a shift within your state of mind. So this is pretty much what I had of timing within my 20 minutes with you today. I would have one last little secret that I would like to share with you today. And this one is, it wasn't prepared at all. Actually, I went into my old souvenir stuff, and I found a notebook that I had in which I wrote, when I was 18 years old, a listing of few stuff. And I wrote that I listed this in the night of the March 14. I call it brainstorming, but the rest is written in French. And what is quite interesting is that I wrote at the first one that I will be mastering subjects in order to give conferences all around the world. I was 18, my brain wasn't there yet. I was studying fashion design, and actually, I was just a dropout of my fashion studies, and I didn't know I was going to go to university afterward. But the 9 things that I wrote them, I almost achieved them all. I wrote to be business owner, which I've done. I wrote that I wanted to learn Mandarin, and I did it. 8 months afterward writing this, I was studying Mandarin. The only thing I didn't achieve is being a diplomat. If ever you have any plug for that, let me know. But actually, everything that I've listed there, I wrote to innovate and be renowned for it. And we've won several things around the world. Why am I sharing this? It's because you can do it for yourself. And this year, it's putting intention into the world, and you'll see things happen. So now I'm ready for the questions. I would welcome the questions. I'm seeing one which is coming in. And as I mentioned, I can answer to them in French also, or Spanish. So the next question is, how do recommended instilling innovative leadership in those who don't have natural leadership skills? I believe that you can get toward it. So the thing is that you have to get out of your comfort zone. So start by baby steps. Everything is always about baby steps, by the way. Like there's a big dream that you have to see like as a final point, but to reach it out, you have to go step by step, and don't put too much pressure into your own shoulders. So things such as within meetings, you could maybe suggest some project that you could be the leader on that project. Start by some few stuff, and also one thing which is quite natural to get in is when you're a positive person, when you're an empathetic person, people are going to be more interested to follow your lead. So that's one important stuff. There's different type of leadership, but on my side, I really stick to the positive leaders. So that would be my recommendation specifically for that. So the next question is, as a woman, have you experienced any limitation to your dreams? What would you recommend to other young female wanting to become an innovative leader? I can't deny that there was a lot of stuff down my way. I would say, unfortunately, it's bias which are still there in the world, bias of people looking at you and having some judgment, either because you're young or because you're a female indeed. Yes, there was limitations, but I tried my best to stick with the people who were part of my tribe and try not to be affected by the ones who would be nasty or mean toward me. And yes, this did happen. So my suggestion here is call their bullshit while you're in front of someone who's disrespecting you. Well, you can just mention something about the HR that they might be interested to know his point of view. And you could always be surprised how this can shift toward your own advantage. And my other recommendation would be more toward the guys, the young guy there. I trust so much your generation and the men, sure. The sexiest thing is a feminist guy. Go ahead. Like when you see a girl within your team who is limited by someone who don't let her talk, by her boss or whoever, will not help her to go to the next step and be cheerleader of another woman around your or girl in your teamwork, you could be surprised how much you'll get recognition from not only that woman or that girl, but all the rest. Okay, I have an interesting question. Wow, it's the first time somebody is asking me that. When do you feel you're most inspired? Well, I would say on my part, which is not the same thing for everyone, it's really during the night, late in the evenings. I have always notebooks forever since I'm very young, and I pitch all my ideas. I'm constantly writing the visions that I have. And it's quite funny because sometimes such as I just show you when I was 18 years old, which is about 15 years ago, I've achieved most of what I've listed. So on my side, when I'm the most inspired is just before falling asleep, and then all the ideas come in and I write them down. I would still have time for other questions. And do not hesitate to send me questions in French or Spanish. Meanwhile, that the next question is entering, I can maybe share with you when I was talking about the manifesto. A manifesto is such a great tool to create a culture or to create a mindset, a state of mind for your entire team. The manifesto helps you to establish kind of guidelines, and you can pitch in one of the elements I would write down was how well, when you have some objects or tasks to create, if you know that somebody else in the team has the specific skill which is hard for you to get, ask him question and do not hesitate to ask question and help the next one also. So it creates really a teamwork, which is very interesting. So yeah, the manifesto for creating a safe space, creating being a leadership with conscious, that's amazing. It's a very great tool. So I'm ending now my presentation. I was very happy to be with you today. I wish you amazing other conferences. And when we're thinking about leadership and acting as someone who's gonna have a real impact, it's all about making sure that you stick to your vision, you stick to your positive thought. Try to find your tribe, those people who are gonna push you into those ideas. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm sorry, there's haters. So yes, they are there. Just like try to remove that and still focus on your dreams, focus on what you're looking for and do it and make it happen. And then try to keep yourself as much on the top of your game by having moments within your day where you're mindful, where you have tools for yourself. It can be meditation. I've talked about the gratitude tool, where you focus more on the things what you're grateful for. You can create different kind of activities also within your team, so you can bring this in and make sure that everyone is feeling well and safe and glad to work within that vision and that innovative mindset. Thank you very much.